exact resolution is submitted to the UN against the glorification of Nazism. The outcome is always the same. The US votes against it, and in recent years with Ukrainian backing. Typically, the EU abstains.
Evacuation. More than 100,000 men, women, and children, all of Japanese ancestry, removed from their homes in the Pacific Coast states to wartime communities established in out-of-the-way places. Their evacuation did not imply individual disloyalty, but was ordered to reduce a military hazard at a time when danger of invasion was great.
But with most countries voting in favor, the document is accepted, but it's only advisory. A writer and history professor at the American University in Washington, summarizes the USA's official position.
The United States says that we're not going to
Great. Two-thirds of the evacuees are American citizens by right of birth. The rest are their Japanese-born parents and grandparents. The people are not under suspicion. They are not prisoners. They are not internees. They are merely dislocated people, the unwounded casualties of war.
Then freedom of speech. The United States says that even neo-Nazis have the right to speak and to assemble.
A German journalist and filmmaker, Mark Bartelmeier, sees the Ukrainian and US positions differently.
Das würden die Amerikaner niemals.
War. The time, spring and summer of 1942. The place, 10 different relocation centers in unsettled parts of California, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, and Arkansas. The relocation centers are supervised by the War Relocation Authority.
Würden die das tun, diese Resolution annehmen, und die Ukrainer schon gar nicht, weil sie würden damit verurteilen, was sie selbst tun.
The modern Western world generally considers Hitler's Nazism to be something atypical of European democracies.
Assumed responsibility for the people after they had been evacuated and cared for temporarily by the Army. A relocation center, housing from 7,000 to 18,000 people. Barrack-type buildings divided into compartments. 12 or 14 residents.
Führer's doctrine on superior and inferior races rather appeared out of thin air in Europe due to an unlucky turn of events. The prerequisites for it had never existed before. But here's the pre-World War map. The UK had colonies in Africa, India, China.
Buildings to a block. Each block provided with a mess hall, bathhouse, laundry building, and recreation hall. About 300 people to a block. The entire community bounded by a wire fence and guarded by military police. symbols of the military nature of the evacuation. Each family, upon arrival at a relocation,
The Commonwealth of Australia, Asia, North and South America. France had captured half of Africa and half of Indochina. Belgium possessed Congo. Germany had colonies in Africa, Asia, South America, and Oceania.
Center was assigned to a single-room compartment, about 20 by 25 feet. Barren, unattractive. A stove, a light bulb, cots, mattresses, and blankets. Those were the things provided by the government. The family's own furniture.
Italy established colonies in Somalia, Ethiopia, Libya, and Eritrea. There were Spanish colonies in South America and Africa. Portugal occupied colonies several times its own size and population. The USA also kept up with the Europeans.
Was in storage on the west coast. Scrap lumber, perhaps some wallboard, and a great deal of energy, curtains, pictures, drapes, depending on the family's own ingenuity and taste, helped to make the place livable. Some families.
And so, by the early 20th century, most of the world was divided between a few colonial nations. What was going on in the colonies is well known and documented. Millions of ruined lives.
Built partitions to provide some privacy. Others took what they received and made the best of it. The 300 or so residents of each block eat in a mess hall, cafeteria style. Rough wooden tables with attached benches. The food is nourishing, but simple. A maximum of 45 cents a day per person.
Slavery. Ruthless and remorseless exploitation. British diplomat, professor of political ideas and author, William Mallinson has studied Europe's colonial system.
Person is allowed for food, and the actual cost is considerably less than this, for an increasing amount of the food is produced at the centers. A combination of Oriental dishes to meet the tastes of the Issei, born in Japan, and of American-type dishes to satisfy the Nisei, born in America. Lands that had never been occupied.
And the reason for its rise and fall.
Only one main thing is important for Nazism, internationally speaking, and that is that nations or that states that are allowed to do anything are the master races. And then you have the minor nations who are the slaves. For the Europeans, the slaves were Indians, Africans. For Hitler, they were Jews, Gypsies, and Slavs.
Farmed were chosen for most of the relocation centers. Most of the land was covered with desert growth, or with timber in the case of the Arkansas centers. It had to be cleared before farming could start. Then it had to be leveled and irrigation ditches.
Nazism is truly convenient. It's a cynical justification for wiping out so-called inferior races and shamelessly robbing them at the same time. Long before the Third Reich appeared, Nazism had been common in the West.
Laid out or rebuilt in order that the people could produce a part of their own food. Then came the plowing and preparation of the soil and planting. A few of the centers had crops in 1942. In 1943,
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Very